We spent your $24,000 on our secret wedding, my sister smirked. I just smiled, posted the receipts online, and tagged the groom's family. An hour later, I called the bank, froze his loan, and retrieved every dollar. By noon, she was screaming, Dad was crying, and my inbox had 67 messages begging me to fix it. And my sister's new husband. We spent your $24,000 on our secret wedding, my sister smirked. You won't believe this. Sarah's voice broke through the muffled sounds of the crowded living room, her eyes sparkling with a mix of pride and mockery. We spent your $24,000 on our secret wedding. My grip on the coffee mug tightened, the warmth turning into a painful heat against my fingers. But I didn't flinch. Not yet. Oh, don't look at me like that, Adam, she continued, her voice thick with that same childish superiority she'd always wielded like a weapon. You weren't even using that money. Besides, family means sharing, right? Her new husband, Jacob, chuckled beside her, his hand resting possessively on her shoulder as if protecting his prize. Around us, the room buzzed with laughter, half-heard conversations, and the sin of overcooked casserole. My parents stood by the kitchen door, avoiding my gaze. Dad's eyes found the worn linoleum, and Mom fussed with a napkin, her fingers twisting it into a tortured knot. I mean, we had to do something special, Sarah went on, flipping her perfect hair over her shoulder. You know how it is. Weddings are so expensive these days, and we didn't want to stress anyone out with the details. Didn't want to stress anyone out, I echoed. My voice was calm, too calm. So you just took the money I saved for my down payment. But even as I spoke, a question gnawed at me. Had I always been this naive, trusting them without question, believing that family meant protection, not betrayal? Was I too blinded by loyalty to see the truth, or was I just too afraid to confront it? Oh, come on, she laughed. You always say you're too busy with work to find a house. And what's the point of all that saving if you're just going to sit on it forever? The room grew quieter, curious ears turning towards us, some trying to pretend they weren't listening. Cousin Mark leaned against the wall, sipping his beer with a raised eyebrow. Aunt Lily's laugh trailed off into an awkward silence. Even Jacob's confident smile wavered. I glanced at Dad. You knew. He cleared his throat. Well, Sarah told us, and you know she's your sister. She deserved a nice day, and you thought it was fine to just take it. My voice was louder now, and the room had gone almost entirely silent. Mom's lips trembled. Adam, please, let's not make a scene. It's family. We're all family. Oh, I'm not making a scene, Mom. I stood up, placing the mug gently on the side table. Not yet. I turned my gaze back to Sarah. So a secret wedding, huh? Was it beautiful? Were the photos amazing? Sarah's smirk grew. They were perfect, worth every penny. Every one of my pennies, you mean? I forced a smile, feeling the sharp edge of rage bubbling beneath the surface. Well then, I hope you enjoy them. I pulled out my phone, opened my email, and with a few taps began attaching the PDF files I'd been saving. The receipts, the transaction locks, the transfers, screenshots of Sarah's messages, asking for a small loan for an emergency that she swore she'd pay back. Every lie, every manipulated promise. I wrote a short, precise message. Dear Jacob's family, I thought you'd like to see how your son's dream wedding was really paid for. Attached are all the details. Enjoy, Adam. I had sinned. A moment later, Sarah's phone pinged, then Jacob's. Then the whispers started. His mother's face twisted in horror as she read the text. His father stood up, glaring at Sarah. What is this? He demanded, his voice slicing through the room like a knife. Sarah's face drained of color. What? What did you do? She whispered. I leaned back against the wall, folding my arms. Oh, I didn't make a scene, Sarah. I just told the truth. The room was in chaos now. Jacob was shouting. His mother was already making for the door. My parents stood frozen. Dad's mouth opening and closing uselessly. Mom's eyes wide with shock. And me? I just smiled. This was just the beginning. I didn't hear from them for 2 days. 2 days of silence, and then my phone lit up. Mom's name flashed on the screen, then Dad's, then Sarah's. One after another. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. I knew exactly what they wanted. Damage control, an attempt to bury the truth I had unleashed. But I wasn't playing their game anymore. The messages came next. Mom, Adam, please, can we talk? Families shouldn't do this to each other. Dad, this is going too far. Call me back now. Sarah, are you serious? Are you trying to ruin my life? I'll never forgive you for this. Forgiveness? That word felt like acid on my tongue. They stole from me. They laughed at me. They thought I was a doormat, a convenient, quiet bank they could drain whenever they pleased. But now they were panicking. Good. By the third day, I woke up to a missed call from Jacob. His voicemail was short, tense. Adam, I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's over between me and Sarah. You got what you wanted? Happy now? I sat up, barely awake, a grim satisfaction spreading through me. The truth had torn through their perfect little lie, and I hadn't even started yet. I blocked his number. Then I opened my email, scanned through the forwarded messages from Jacob's family, screenshots of Sarah's desperate texts, her pathetic excuses, her blaming me, claiming I was just jealous. I saved each one. An hour later, the doorbell rang. I glanced through the peephole. Mom, Dad, and Sarah. They looked like wreckage. Dad's face red with anger. Mom's eyes swollen from crying. And Sarah, she looked different, defeated. I opened the door but didn't step aside. Adam, please. Mom's voice was a pleading whisper. Can we come in? Dad asked, his voice thick with barely suppressed rage. I stepped back, letting them inside. I didn't bother offering them a seat. They stood awkwardly in the narrow hallway like trespassers. Adam, this has gone too far, Dad started, his voice a low growl. Your sister's marriage is ruined. Her life is falling apart. My life is falling apart. Sarah's voice was a shrill whine. Because of you, Adam. You posted those messages. You embarrassed me in front of everyone. You. I told the truth, I interrupted, my voice calm but cold. Something you seem allergic to. Dad's face darkened. We are a family. Families don't do this. I laughed. Actually laughed. Families don't steal $24,000 and then brag about it. Families don't lie. Families don't make one member pay for everything while they laugh behind his back. Adam, please. You have to understand, Mom began, reaching out, but I stepped back. Understand what? I snapped. That I'm just a wallet to you? That I'm nothing but a backup plan when things go wrong? When have any of you ever thought about me? My life? My goals? When? Mom's lips trembled, but she had no answer. Adam, this has gone too far. Dad's voice was firm, his frustration clear. You need to fix this. Apologize to Jacob's family. Make it right. You'll what, Dad? I leaned forward, my eyes locked on his. You'll do what? Steal more money? Lie some more? Make me the villain because you can't face what you did? His face twisted in fury. But before he could speak, Sarah stepped forward, grabbing at my sleeve, her voice trembling. You destroyed everything I built, she cried out, her voice shaking. You think you're so smart, so righteous, but you're just bitter and jealous. You think you can live without us? You'll end up alone, Adam. I pried her hands off me gently but firmly. No, Sarah, I won't die alone. I'll live free, and I'll live honest. That's more than you can say. She stumbled back, her eyes wild, tears streaming down her face. I can't believe you would do this to me. You were supposed to be my brother. Stop it, both of you. Mom's voice cracked, her hand shaking. This isn't right. We can't fall apart like this. We aren't falling apart, Mom. I laughed, bitter and sharp. You fell apart years ago. You just didn't notice because you were too busy covering for them. Mom's face crumpled, and she buried it in her hands, sobbing. Dad looked at me, his rage replaced with something darker. Disgust. You think you're so much better, don't you? He spat. A little money and a big mouth. That's all you are. Always the victim. Always crying about how we're so unfair. Maybe you should have been grateful instead of a spoiled arrogant. Get out, I said, my voice like ice. What? Dad's eyes widened. Get out. I stepped forward. The door opened behind them. This is my place, my home, and you aren't welcome here anymore. Adam, Mom's voice was a whisper, a plea. I said, get out. I shouted, and even I was surprised by the fury in my voice. They flinched. Dad's jaw clenched, but he grabbed Sarah's arm, yanking her toward the door. Mom followed, still sobbing, her hand covering her mouth. As they stumbled out, I slammed the door, the echo ringing in a sudden silence. For a moment, I stood there staring at the door, my chest heaving. Then I walked back to the kitchen, my fingers trembling as I picked up my phone. Screenshots, messages, bank transfers, lies, every betrayal, every manipulation, every time they'd made me feel like I was nothing but a resource. All of it was here, neatly cataloged. I uploaded them all to a cloud folder. Then I wrote a post, simple and clear. This is what family looks like when you're nothing but a wallet to them. Don't let them rewrite the truth. I attached the link to the folder. I posted it publicly, and I turned off my phone. The quiet in my apartment felt like a storm. But for once, I didn't feel powerless. I felt alive. The wind bit at my face, icy needles stinging my cheeks as I walked down the narrow snow-covered path toward the old stable. It stood quiet against the gray sky, a forgotten place where my sister Sarah had always felt safe, her sanctuary. But today, it would be a battlefield. I saw her before she saw me, leaning against the wooden fence, stroking the neck of her favorite horse, a tall black stallion named Midnight, dressed in her riding gear. She looked almost peaceful. Almost. But I knew better. Adam, she called out, spotting me, her voice wavering just slightly. Thank you for coming. I didn't respond immediately. I walked closer, the snow crunching beneath my boots. My fingers were cold, but the anger boiling in my chest kept me warm. You wanted to talk? I asked, keeping my voice even. Yes, I didn't want it to be like this. She brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, her fingers trembling. Everything's gone wrong. Jacob left me. Mom and Dad are upset. And it's all because it's because of me. I cut her off, a bitter laugh escaping my lips. Tell me, Sarah, who stole $24,000 for a secret wedding, who laughed about it in front of the whole family, who thought they could keep lying forever. Her face twisted in anger. I didn't steal it. I borrowed it. I was going to pay you back. With what? I shot back. You don't have a job. You've never paid for anything in your life. Did you think lying to everyone, including Jacob, would make everything better? Tears sprang to her eyes, but I felt nothing. Not pity, not sympathy, just a cold, steely calm. You don't understand, she shouted, her voice cracking. I was trying to build a life I deserve. But you had to ruin it. I leaned against the fence, folding my arms. You did that yourself. I just told the truth. She stepped closer, her boots sinking into the snow. You were always jealous, always bitter just because Mom and Dad cared about me more. They didn't care about you, I interrupted. They enabled you. They let you become this, a liar, a thief, a manipulator. And you loved it. You always loved being the center of attention. Shut up, she screamed, her voice echoing against the wooden walls. Midnight stirred, his ears twitching at her outburst. But I didn't stop. I couldn't. You want to talk about the truth, Sarah? Let's talk about Jacob. I reached into my pocket, pulling out my phone. With a few taps, I pulled up the screenshots, her messages to her friends. The ones where she bragged about tricking me. The ones where she laughed about how she'd always find a way to make me pay. Her face went pale. Stop, she whispered, backing away. Stop. Why? This is the truth, right? I stepped closer. How you told Jacob you only married him for his family's money. How you tried to make me look like the villain because I didn't support your dreams enough. How you lied to everyone. Those are private. You can't just... Oh, I can. I smiled coldly. And I did. Her chest heaved, her eyes darting around, and then her anger returned, sharper, venomous. You think you've won? You think everyone will believe you over me? I'm their daughter, Adam, their precious girl. Mom and Dad will never turn against me. That's so? I raised an eyebrow, feeling the next part like a cold knife I was about to twist. Then why don't you tell them yourself? At that moment, I waved my hand and Jacob stepped out from the shadow of the stable door. His face was cold, eyes burning with anger and betrayal. He walked slowly toward us, his boots leaving deep prints in the snow. Hello, Sarah, he said, his voice calm, but each word was a stone. Want to tell me again how Adam's just jealous? How he's ruining your life? Sarah's mouth opened and closed, her hands shaking. Jacob, please. You lied to me, he continued, his voice cutting like a blade. You lied to your family, to your friends, and you thought you could keep using Adam to cover your mess. Well, now it's over. Please, she whispered, tears spilling down her cheeks. I was scared. I didn't want to lose you. You lost me the moment you made me a part of your lies. Jacob snapped. I should have seen it sooner. No. Sarah stumbled forward, reaching for him, but he stepped back. Don't leave me, please. I already did. Jacob turned to me. I should have listened to you sooner, Adam. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, I replied, never taking my eyes off Sarah. She's been playing this game for years. Just then, the sound of an approaching car pierced the freezing air. Tires crunched on the snow, and a familiar black sedan pulled up. My parents stepped out, my mother wrapped in her thick coat, my father in his old wool scarf. Sarah, Mom's voice was frantic. What's going on? Oh, good, I muttered, crossing my arms. The whole circus is here. Adam. Dad's voice was sharp, angry. What is this? What are you doing? What I should have done years ago, I said, pointing at Sarah. Ask her what she did with my $24,000. Adam, stop this. Mom hurried forward, grabbing Sarah, who collapsed into her arms, sobbing. She's your sister. Was she my sister when she stole my money? I snapped. Was she my sister when she lied to you, to Jacob, to everyone? Please, can we just talk? Mom's voice was desperate, her hands stroking Sarah's hair. This is a family matter. We don't need... No, I interrupted. It's not just a family matter. It's a truth matter, and you too need to know the truth. I handed my phone to Dad, letting him see the messages. His eyes scanned them, his face growing pale, then red. Sarah, he whispered, his voice breaking. Daddy, please, she cried, gripping his coat. It's all a misunderstanding. Adam twisted everything. Oh, did I? I leaned forward. Explain how you told your friends you never needed me. Tell him how you planned the secret wedding with my money. Tell him. Dad's hand trembled, and Mom was already sobbing. You lied to us? Dad whispered, his voice cracking. Sarah was choking on her tears, looking at me with raw hatred. This is your fault, Adam. You destroyed me. No, Sarah. I stepped back, feeling the cold wind bite at my face. You destroyed yourself. Jacob turned and walked away without another word. My parents stood frozen, shattered, and Sarah fell to her knees, sobbing, clutching at the snow. I walked away, the icy air feeling almost warm against my skin. I didn't look back. Not this time. I turned off my phone the moment I left the stables. The cold wind slapped against my face, but it was nothing compared to the storm brewing in my chest. I drove home in silence, the crunch of snow beneath my tires the only sound. Back at my apartment, I locked the door and leaned against it, processing everything. Sarah's tears, Dad's anger, Mom's helplessness. All of it replayed in my head, but there was no regret, just a quiet, steely determination. I poured myself a glass of water and opened my laptop. First, I logged into my bank accounts. One by one, I removed every linked access my parents had. No more emergency help, no more temporary loans. They were cut off. Next, I checked the shared phone plan, the one I had been paying for. A few clicks and they were removed. If they wanted to call me, they could pay for their own phones. Then I posted a short message on social media. Family is a choice. I made mine. The notifications exploded. Messages from relatives, some supportive, others confused. A few tried to guilt trip me. I ignored them all. But one message caught my eye. Jacob, I saw your post. You were right about everything. Thank you for opening my eyes. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel alone. The next morning, I woke up to a flood of messages. Mom, Dad, and Sarah had all posted on social media, twisting the story. Sarah was claiming I was the one who ruined her life, saying I was jealous and vindictive. Dad went on about how family should forgive, while Mom just begged for understanding. I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself. I didn't even share the screenshots or recordings. Not yet. But then I got an email from an extended relative I barely knew. Adam, they're saying you stole from them. They're planning to sue you. A cold chill ran down my spine. They were trying to flip the narrative, making me the villain. I almost laughed at the absurdity. They had no idea what I still had. The proof, the receipts, the voice messages. They thought they could manipulate the narrative like always. I opened my laptop and went through my save files, screenshots of Sarah's texts, Dad's manipulative messages, and Mom's guilt trips. I knew it was time to set the record straight. I crafted a new post. Lies don't age well. I attached a single screenshot, Sarah bragging to a friend about how she tricked me into paying for the wedding. I let it speak for itself. The explosion was instant. Comments, messages, shares. People who had believed Sarah were now questioning her. Some apologized to me, others demanded answers from her. Even her closest friends started to distance themselves. Then a text from Mom. "Please, Adam, don't do this. You're tearing the family apart." Dad sent a voicemail. "You've made your choice. We'll do things without you." I just smiled. They couldn't manipulate me anymore. I spent the rest of the week focusing on work, reconnecting with friends, and allowing myself to feel the weight lifting from my shoulders. But one night, there was a knock on my door. It was Jacob holding a 6-pack of beer. "Can I come in?" he asked. I nodded. We sat down and he took a long swig before speaking. "I left her," he said, his voice heavy. "After you exposed everything, I couldn't stay." I wasn't surprised. "You did the right thing." He looked at me with a tired smile. "You too." As we sat there, I realized that I didn't need my family's approval anymore. I didn't need to be the one constantly giving while they took. I had made my choice. The next morning, I checked my phone. More messages from Sarah. Apologies mixed with accusations. I didn't read them. I just deleted everything and blocked her number. I wasn't going back. A few days later, I heard from some extended family members. They said my parents were still trying to convince people I was the problem, but no one was buying it anymore. Truth has a way of sticking, no matter how many lies you pile on top. For once, I felt at peace. The chaos that had been my life for so long had finally calmed, and I could breathe. I wasn't responsible for them anymore. Finally, I was free.